All right, we're back as promised. Final match of the final event of the season here. Of course, the final season as well here in the 2024 NRG series. The championship is next, but unfortunately, that means there's no events for you guys at home to play in for the rest of 2024 if you're not qualified for the championship. But fear not, for we already have the first few dates of 2025 already sorted out. So let's take a quick look at those. Formats not necessarily announced yet. That will be coming. So keep your eyes peeled and all the channels that you can follow the NRG series, Twitter, whatever your favorite is. But here you can see, mark the calendars. We're going to be back in Chicagoland right at the beginning of the 2025 season 1, February 1st and 2nd. And you can see that we can guarantee you that Sunday is going to have a team trial there. So no matter what the formats are, it will be a team event. And then, of course, the showdown, both 10K events there to start the season off. So we're starting off with a bang. Following up there, March 15th and 16th, we're going to be in Madison, Wisconsin for a 10K showdown and a 5K trial. And then again in Chicagoland, this time in Mundelein instead of Elmhurst. So still in Illinois, a little bit different location. May 10th and 11th, and a 10K showdown, 5K trial. And then capping off season 1 is going to be in Indianapolis. Saw somebody in chat wanting for Indy. So we'll be back in Indy, 10K showdown. And of course, the long-awaited 10K team showdown. Those are quite popular. Get your whole team qualified for the championship. And then it's going to be 2 opportunities to do that at the end of each season in 2025. So I think that's going to be a pretty big event in Indy. And I like Indianapolis quite a bit. So who knows? Maybe me and you, Corbin, we'll come take it down.
I'll say this. Indianapolis is, for one of the best cities in America to host an event that has just great infrastructure around the downtown. Love going to Indianapolis for one. And also playing in one of these next year. Team event, especially, I'd have to say that I hope that ends up on my calendar. That would be
see, team events. They're the events that I'm most excited about. I think you all are most excited about. So we're gonna have 2 team events. We have the team trial, the team showdown marked on the calendar here. So gonna be a big part of the NRG series in 2025. Set your dates. You're gonna want to qualify for the 2025 championship because obviously your opportunities are over for 2024. Great event. So with that, all of that out the way, let's talk about crowning a champion. One of these players punching their ticket into the 2024 championship. Neither of these players qualified, and I believe a loss, even with any leaderboard standings, leaves both these players out of the championship as well. So it's all or nothing here. You're in the championship with a win, you're out with a loss. Now there's still money, a token, trophies, RC invites for both these players already that these players, are playing for and have already earned. But I think the championship's kind of on both these players' minds as we're starting off with Ornithopter and a Fairy Miscreant here.
Sure. 3 permanents to play on turn 1. I guess, hey, we talked about the importance of double spelling throughout the day. Hey, Ornithopter helps you do that, right?
So, pretty good. Double spelling on turn 1. Ornithopter been doing it since antiquities.
So what it does mean here for Andrew is that if he has one of those ninjutsu plays on turn 2 or later on turn 3, literally just having the extra attacker that goes faster than Max's mana might turn out to be pretty big.
Yeah, I mean, this overwhelms one mana removal spells, right? And that's a big deal when it comes to getting your Moon Circuit hacker in play. Now Maxx might just say no blocks, and then you put the hacker in play, and then you hit that. But now you're susceptible to Thoughtseize.
Oh, you can even line it up, right? You can line up. You can protect your hacker here if assuming you have hacker and land to be a really awesome start for Andrew, staring down just one removal spell.
I mean, you can't have it all, unless you're Andrew. Maybe he has it all. But
look, it means that the way
Maxx does not have it all.
If he does have a ninjutsu creature, he could take the impulse and actually have the way clear to guarantee himself a card with it. If that's not the case, he'll opt for something longer here and take the talent.
I love this. Yeah, talent's really one of the engine cards. You've talked a lot about that in the other matches we've called. I mean, Artist Talent really represents an engine for Is It Phoenix. So taking that does a lot to disrupt Max's flow of the game here. These cantrips now, instead of just getting a bunch of value off Artist Talent, now have to work. They have to actually find action. And this 1 mana removal spell, I think that's a loud signal to me that Moon Circuit Hacker is not part of the plan, but maybe Kaido is, so they're not susceptible to Fiery Impulse. And so maybe we could just play around it. Maybe we could just beat it. And I mean, that would be an impressive aspect of this Ninjas deck to be able to do that coming out the gate very strong here in the first game of the finals. Being on the play, a big deal as well.
Oh, he does have the hacker.
Whoa, but that just gets impulse before damage. So that's going to happen.
He just cared about taking the talent anyway. Fair enough.
Fair enough. I mean, not even that bad of an exchange. Ornithopter is a 0-mana creature, so you're not even down a creature. The Ornithopter wasn't doing damage anyway. So, I mean, you're still trading a card for a card. So, in this way, in a really roundabout way, your Moon Circuit Hacker is like a Thoughtseize for the Impulse as well.
Sure.
Here comes
now,
a Sleight of Hand.
Yeah, it's been very mana efficient in all of this for Andrew. Now, the issue for him is that he has exactly 1 power in play and only a couple cards in hand. So
clock's not big. Yeah,
things could get like this game could actually turn out looking pretty badly for him if Maxx is able to chain together a couple of removal spells and he just whiffs. But hey, I guess that's if you're playing Ornithopter in your deck, you are signing up for this experience because look how good it was, right? Like, in a world where that Hecker just connects, you're already even on the card from your Ornithopter, right? And now you're just up. So with every play past that. So it doesn't take much to make it kind of worth it. But in the games where it doesn't work out, it could look bad. So here we go. It's a big turn for Andrew here.
Yeah, I have to agree there. Second Miscreant's a great way to start. Get some cards coming. I think we have a Mockingbird too, so we might just be miscreanted up. Oh, yeah, here we go. Talk to me.
Oh, it's like playing limited.
Final land in Otawara, beatdowns of the Miscreants. So you mentioned the clock was only 1 point of power. We tripled that this turn. 3 Miscreants. And the Mockingbird actually a really good one to pick up with ninjutsu effects. Again, look, the clone aspect, being able to reset it and get a little bit more utility out of it could be a big deal. And again, all these cards replace themselves. So kind of got to do that there. Consider going to bin an Otawara, draw a card. I think there's a Lightning Axe involved.
Yeah, and the last card in hand for Andrew probably is pretty decent, right? Because if it was a land, he probably would have played that land instead of Otawara, which he did play. So I would presume that his last card is in fact a spell here. So and Maxx may be going through that same calculation. He hopes to have a 1 removal spell open here, but okay, we're just continuing.
Sleight of hand. Well, we have an axe, so we might be able to just like axe the Mockingbird, bring back Arclight Phoenix, and start just kind of getting some blocks going. Yeah, if you want, that is very aggressive. That's an aggressive play for Maxx, but it's available.
I was going to say that would look throwing a Lightning Axe at a 1/1 feels horrible, but that might actually be the play. I mean, that is your opponent's game plan is to play the 1/1s. But
how about this? How about a Treasure Cruise instead? I want a quick check of the 7 cards. Yep, still 7.
It's a much better use of the mana.
I agree. And I think we picked up another axe. Do we have to move to discards? We might be putting our Phoenix in the graveyard by moving to discards. Nope. Exactly 7. Love to see it.
Well, shields down, I guess, Andrew. Make the most of it. Oh, just attacking. No ninjutsu.
No Kaido is big here. I mean, that has been, and I don't think Andrew looks super happy with the draws.
His hand has got to just be removal or something, right?
Could be Brazen Borrower. That's been a card that we've seen. I mean,
that would be a helpful one. That would be a good one. I wonder if
I think
flash one in at this point.
Oh, yeah, I think so. You really need to get the clock going. I mean, really, Maxx just spent all that turn spinning his wheels, right? Cantrip, Treasure Cruise. Like, I mean, you drew cards. That's all you did.
This isn't much either, right? We were just pick lock prankstering. Well, I guess free the Fane.
I really want to highlight here while we watching this game play out like it has, how heads up taking the artist talent was with the Thoughtseize. It's really tempting to take that Fiery Impulse. A lot of players, maybe even myself, would have done so. And I think that turn 3 that we saw from Maxx would have been a very different story if the artist talent was allowed to be put into play on turn 2. And now here we are finally getting some action going with the Lightning Axe. Finally made that play on the 1/1, that Mockingbird, to bring the Phoenix back on this turn, and now we got some blocks going there.
Okay.
Oh, it's a drowner. Wow, these have been good for Andrew because you can shuffle away the Phoenix. That's a great way to do it.
That's massive because he gets to attack now. We're going to get him for 4 damage. Poke Maxx down to 9, and then you said it. If he wants, he can throw the drowner away to get the Phoenix. But here's the other way: you can actually just keep attacking with drowner. Phoenix is going to remove that stun counter. It's still tapped, right? So like it's still down for a turn, and you're just going to keep attacking with your 2-power creature.
There's a look at Drowner, the powerful uncommon from Duskmourn. Done a lot of work for Andrew, and even the games we've watched today. Flash Vigilance, tapping things down, shuffling things away, and just the threat of shuffling things away we've seen be a massive aspect to this card because it just doesn't feel good to try to remove it. As Ledger Shredder is going to get triggered, and into the graveyard goes a Sleight of Hand. Growing that, we have 2 blockers now, Picklock Prankster, Ledger Shredder. Flying blockers may be a weakness of this deck, so if we do have a Brazen Borrower or Fatal Push is also quite good. That's going to help clear the way.
These have been perfect draws for Andrew, and now I just want a petty
too. Wow.
Yeah, he's got the petty theft in hand, so the next blocker doesn't do anything. I think that, yes, I think the prankster's in play. So he could
Right.
actually remove the blocker, swing for 4 if he wanted. I don't know if that's necessarily where he wants to be. Maybe he just swings with everything anyway and loses one of them and gets in for 2.
Yeah,
This is
it's
kind of a
tough because
tough spot.
putting
Yeah.
Max to 5 doesn't feel great. Brazen Borrow's a good attacker, but
Yeah,
gets
it says he
if you're losing creatures, this is tough.
This is kind of rough because, like, maybe you end up just wanting to attack, get in some damage, and then flash in the Brazen Borrower itself, or maybe you don't do that at all and you just pass, and maybe then you flash in Brazen Borrower and increase your air force. But giving Max access to this much mana again is dangerous.
It's tough, but I will say with what's on board, it's not like he has a lot of great attacks right now. Now, obviously, Treasure Cruise and all the things that he can do, the wheels he can spin through this turn can change that math quite a bit. But
Yeah.
with what he's working with right now, I mean, Picklock Prankster has Vigilance, so maybe you could just send it anyway or whatever. It doesn't really matter. Ornithopter checks it. But like the Arclight Phoenix isn't really going to turn sideways. You're not under any pressure. There's not a lot of rush. And we've seen Andrew's deck really be able to like assemble a burst of tap effects that allow you to punch through a hole where there otherwise wouldn't be one. You can actually grind with this Ninja's deck. So
More
here comes
Free the Fae.
Oh, and finding 2 birds off this Free the Fae. That might be exactly what Maxx needed here. Wow, that was a good hit.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of low rolls off of Free the Phase. We finally saw a really high roll here for Maxx, putting 2 more Phoenixes into the yard. That's going to overwhelm, I think, look, Andrew had a line here where if there weren't more birds this particular turn, maybe you can line up enough. But I think now it's probably going to be too much.
Yeah, the removal spell and the 2 birds, that's a lot to fight through. And, that's one of the cool, exciting aspects, I'd say, of Phoenix is, you do, not an actual gamble, but, there is some
Yeah.
variance aspect to it with how quickly you hit your Phoenixes. And when you hit them this quickly, it feels good. Andrew lining up the easy block. The which birds to block a little bit harder. Here we go.
I think maybe we haven't
Okay,
decided
all
what
right.
our attacks
Maybe
are
we're
quite
not.
yet.
We haven't finalized the tax yet. So, hold your horses, Andrew. You'll get to block that Ornithopter if you want.
Well, Andrew wants to be able to attack, and Maxx is thinking about, okay, do I really want to keep 3 blockers right now so that nothing can get me sued? Like, am I just serving with exactly 1 Arc-like Phoenix on this turn? That's the thought process. And the answer, in fact, is going to be 2 of them and 1 removal spell.
It is weird to send 2. It feels like you're sending 1 or 3.
Well, you end up with 2 blockers and a removal spell, right? So in theory, you can hold down 3 attackers.
Yeah, if you have a removal spell, I guess, you have it all checked. So maybe this is fine.
This is I would that's what I would think witnessing this attack here. But here we go. This is what you kind of leave it open to.
Right, you leave it open to anything. Like, I mean, Andrew didn't play anything. You really think he just has nothing? Not even a land? I don't know. I mean, we get to bounce a thing, but hey, I think this opens a window.
Yeah, it opens a window. And the question is, if you're Maxx, how bad could it be if he does have removal there, which he did? And the answer is, okay, the attack comes in and then he has Kaido, basically, right? And
not Kaido, Moon Circuit Hacker, which isn't bad. Get some cards running, pushes some more damage. This is 3 damage right now if Maxx has nothing. The question is, does Maxx have anything? And he does. Key Fiery Impulse here, and that's going to get a scoop from Andrew. You get a look there very quickly at Moon Circuit Hacker card we've looked at before. Kind of went under the radar a little bit until this new Kaido Bane of Nightmares card came out. But, like as I said, both of these players have been very dominant through their top 8s. Now, I mean, we're seeing that was some close magic there. And really, Andrew kind of lost a little bit of steam in the mid game. I really liked his sequencing, taking the artist talent and all that. It really seemed to work out his way. But Maxx just kind of assembled a little too much, a little too quick, and finding 2 Phoenixes off the Free the Fae really just kind of sealed the deal.
Yeah, and that's the thing when you play against the Phoenix deck, right? The inevitability is just so much, whether the inevitability is the inevitability of them casting Treasure Cruise and drawing more cards, or whether it's the inevitability of, okay, even if these first couple of spells that put things into the graveyards miss and it's not a free game for them where they have all their birds instantly, it just every single turn you spin your wheels against them is another turn that they're taking a chance to put them in the graveyard, and then they always show up in the end. And now you're Maxx, you put yourself in a position where, look, all you have to do now is 1 more game. If you can get a couple of them out really early, have a great open, you can just win this thing.
Well, with that, let's see what Andrew can do to stop that from happening and his take of Demir Ninjas, a deck we've seen before. We're going to take a look at the sideboard one more time here in the finals of our Pioneer 5K Showdown. We got 4 copies of Unlicensed Hearse, 3 copies of Anoint with Affliction, 3 copies of Disdainful Stroke, 2 Cut Down, 1 Spell Pierce, 1 Alcazat's Deepest Betrayal. I think there's a lot to like here. What do you like?
Certainly has options against the Phoenixes, doesn't he? He's got removal. He's got exile effects. He's got a 4 Unlicensed Hearse. And I think we're getting probably quite a bit of it, right? So this is a sideboard that has Phoenix in mind, as we talked about coming into the top 8. Like every deck in this top 8, they're either playing Phoenix or they are playing with a plan for Phoenix, and that's exactly what you see over here in Andrew's sideboard, with up to, I think, probably 8 or 9 cards that could come in.
Yeah, depending on how much you want. Like the Anoint with Afflictions, I think I wish they obviously hit Phoenixes, but they only hit 3 or less. But that's still not a 0 because you have things like Ledger Shredders, Picklock Pranksters you need to get out of your way. Fatal Push probably a little bit better at that, so you have to kind of make that decision. But the 4 on Hearse, I think the 4 on Licensed Hearse, I think slam dunks. Those have been incredible every time. And like I said, if you want to reach for cut downs as an upgrade potentially to Fatal Push, you could maybe do that.
Well, and that's the level. Well. That's the level 2 of the sideboarding, right? Is where level 1, okay, if I'm bringing in the Hearses to answer the Phoenixes, I don't want to lose to the Ledger Shredders, and I don't want to lose to whatever else you might have. And that's where you end up looking at that removal. So, like you mentioned, it really is a question of how much he wants to dilute sort of his deck's primary game plan, and whether he wants a bunch of, whether he wants to fully max out on reactive cards, or if you just slam your Hearses, eat their graveyard, and call it a day.
Well, speaking of maxing out, let's take a look at Maxx Kominowski's sideboard and see what he has to work with. He has 2 copies of Prismari Command, 2 Negate, 2 Mystical Dispute, and then his list of one-ofs: 1 Beacon Bolt, 1 Third Pass Iconoclast, 1 Brazen Borrower, 1 Annul, 1 Aether Gust, 1 Prof's Eidectic Memory. I can never say that word. 1 Anger of the Gods, 1 Crackling Drake, and 1 Chandra's Defeat. What do you like against the Ninjas?
Well, he's got a lot of options as well, doesn't he? Again, plenty of removal as well. I think we'll see Mystical Disputes. Those are pretty good when your opponent's trying to do things on your instep. I think the removal will come in. A lot of options here for Max. And do you want to cut down on your graveyard stuff? Do you want to cut down on some of just the I don't know if random's the right word, but look, you got the Flood Maw in the main deck. You got a couple of Spell Pierces in the main deck. You got 4 Talents in the main deck. Like, are any of these the cards you cut, depending on whether you just want to pick up a few more pieces of interaction? But overall, you're still in his Phoenix decks, and if you can just put your Phoenixes into play, that's actually a pretty good game plan here for Max. So it really depends on how much he wants to hedge against those Hearses that we know are coming.
Well, of course, for these players, Maxx Kominowski 1 game away from his 2024 NRG Championship ticket. Andrew working from behind here, but on the play here, once again, as he is on a mulligan with his take on Ninjas, deck I haven't really seen too much of. And I mean, I've been extremely impressed by what I've seen. I mean, all of the Duskmourn cards. I really think this is maybe the most affected deck from Duskmourn, like really one of the decks using the most cards, right? You're using 4x of the Kaido, you're using 4x of the Flood Pits Drowner, you have 4x of the Gloom Lake Verge. Like, you have so many upgrades to whatever you were trying to do with Ninjas before and what you're trying to do after with Duskmourn, that, I mean, this is something that would now be on my radar. There's a lot going on here. I mean, Andrew doesn't seem to like his hand too much. Saw Alcazat's among the mix, but he does not look thrilled at all with his 6. And, it's funny. This is exactly what happened with Maxx Kominowski's semifinals opponent, too. We saw that 1 land from Pierre in the semifinals, and maybe something to be said too about the consistency of Izzet Phoenix. All your hands are just like a land or 2 and cantrips and stuff. So maybe you do a little bit less mulliganing than some of the other decks that need a specific mix. I think we've seen that in play here a little bit as Andrew. No turn 1 play at all. Pretty shocking. No second land either. Maxx Kominowski going to cast off Riverglide Pathway.
Oh, we might be in for a quick one here. Shout out, by the way, to Apex Gaming, rating with a party of 168. Really appreciate that. Just like we really appreciate all of you who are here hanging out with us in the finals of the NRG Championship Series in Chicagoland. Maxx Kominowski is there may not be much analysis on this one if Andrew can't.
The artist talent. That's a good exchange. For
good start.
No second land, and that's not the face of man that just drew a land. So here we go.
Well, I guess a miscreant makes future miscreants and or mockingbirds playable.
Well, shout out to everybody coming from the Apex stream. I mean, obviously, you're here to because you love Paper Magic, you love Paper Magic coverage, and I'm sure everybody at the Apex they did a great job. Hopefully, the finals of your event was maybe a little bit more close than what we're seeing here, as players missing land drops, an unfortunate aspect of the game. You do want to see very competitive games of Magic, but I'm sure Maxx Kominowski here, who is about to punch his ticket to the 2024 championship in the last possible time, is quite excited to see this as a rub of the table coming for Andrew. And combat beats for 1. Got the hacker in the removal. No, let's it happen. Okay.
Land?
Card coming.
Land. We've got a game, Drake. It's not over yet.
Oh, it's not over yet. I'm sitting here doom saying it's not over yet. Now, Maxx, no removal. I'm shocked.
I am shocked that worked. Yes.
Double Ledger Shredder here. They're going to trigger the first one. So now big stop signs in play for the attack force. But Andrew got to get something done.
Yeah, Andrew got to get a card. Now maybe he hits a land off the top. Maybe he's got something. He's got removal. Like we talked about in the last game. Like spinning your wheels against Izzet Phoenix is horrible because that sets them up extremely well. And double Ledger Shredder is pretty nutty in itself. But hey, the game is going on. And wow, we talked about how much does he want to hedge against other Phoenix, like non-Phoenix plans. Well, this unlicensed hearse will eat the graveyard, but the Ledger Shredders might just do it on their own.
I love the proactivity there with Maxx discarding a Treasure Cruise to the Ledger Shredder last turn. When Treasure Cruise looks like it was going to be really good on the following turn, has to say there's more in hand, and so aggressively exiling with hearse shuts that down to some degree. As here comes a 4-mana Treasure.
You're right. You nailed it, and you cost him a lot of mana as a result.
Yep. I mean, obviously, was still able to make it happen. Ledger Shredders, it's going to be hard to stop in general. There's 2 Ledger Shredders in play, but, did make it quite a bit harder and made it to where, maybe Maxx doesn't get as much done with this turn, especially post Treasure Cruise.
Well, it might have been the difference, too, if he had a bird in hand to discard. It might have been the difference between him and having an additional mana and cantrip here to then bring it back.
And the extra cruise getting discarded now that the hearse is around, not really going to be able to cash in on that one too well. But an attack force now mounted because, Andrew really hasn't been able to get a lot going. Best draw here, I think, land for Kaido. If he has Kaido and he has a land, we have a game, I think.
True. It is, in fact, shields down for Maxx, and land Kaido would be pretty powerful here for Andrew. And there's land, step 1.
Land, untapped. Now, is Kaido good enough? I don't know. The -2 can keep some of these birds tapped. Thoughtseize is going to get the party started. Can take Phoenix and exile it. That's not a 0.
Yeah, and that's what you need to do because otherwise it is just going to come into play and attack you. So
yeah, you just cast it for 4 mana. That's absolutely fine on this board state, I'd say. So yeah, we're going to take that. Normally pretty bad. A lot better when you have a hearse in play. And going to go ahead and pass the turn back after that. Okay. So we did shock there. So have to imagine we have a play for 2 mana, maybe a Drowner.
Drowner seems likely, and Drowner is not terrible here. You can tap down the big Shredder. We didn't give him an extra trigger by casting 2 spells on your turn.
Yep, true.
Now, I don't know if any of it's going to be enough, given how much Maxx has in hand to keep the Shredders going. But the start. It is a start.
Ooh, an artist talent. What a draw. The shake of the head from Andrew. That was a great draw off the top. 2 cantrips left behind, and Maxx with some extra lands that he'd love to get rid of. Picklock Prankster. We're going to free the Fae here. That's actually going to be spell number 2. So we're going to start conniving, and we also have artist talent. So we have to stack those triggers, which is, I believe, what we're doing right now. So we started by drawing, so a connive has to happen first.
Right.
We're doing the one with 1 counter. So there goes the opt. So that's going to grow the other one. Now we're doing the second connive. Going to see what we have here. And I mean, this is really all coming together for Maxx because now you get to cantrip without casting them. Your artist talent's going to start getting things going. Picklock Prankster's another blocker, and the window really closing here for Andrew. Okay. Let's see. 2 mana left over. 4 power Ledger Shredder. Andrew at 11. Memory. Oh,
it's been a lot of cards drawn over the course of it. This is a really, look, this is going to be an Izzet Phoenix game without a single Arlike Phoenix involved. And
Yeah, I mean, and who needs them? I mean, the hearse is on duty to exile it, but that just isn't part of the equation really at all here. The Prof's Eidetic Memory is going to do a great job growing these Ledger Shredders, and the Ledger Shredders are already doing a great job growing themselves, and the churn is real. And I mean, this is the power of Visit Phoenix, right? Even the non-Treasure Cruise, like if you want to highlight Treasure Cruise as a problem, that's fine. I hear you. But also the rest of the cards, I mean, with Artist Talent now involved, Prof's Memories got a lot better with Artist Talent because now all of these things have come together with Ledger Shredders and the like to pay you off for just spinning your wheels. That's always what Arclight Phoenix, the card, has been about. And now you really have some great options in Pioneer to really support Arclight Phoenix and keep that running. And I mean, the deck's just really powerful. There's no two ways about it. 3 of them in our top 8, the only repeat. And now Maxx looking very, very likely to punch his ticket to the NRG Championship with these Prof's Memories, these Ledger Shredders, the Artist Talent. I think we're counting spells.
Well, we're that or
cards drawn.
Yeah, for the memory, because it's going to make one of these shredders very large. And gosh, would it even be lethal? Right. So 4 + 3 is 7. It might just be lethal.
I mean, you're the math guy. What do we got? We got 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's where we start. So we need 4. I think we've drawn more than 5 cards, right?
I think so. There's a miscreant to chump block here, and of course, Andrew does still have the open mana, right? So this could end in like we still could have the Drowner here. We might have
the Petty Theft, the Drowner. Okay, beep beep, stop.
You nailed it. There we go.
Here comes the Drowner. Yeah, tap that down. See you later. Massive Ledger Shredder with a stun counter represented by the green counter. I mean, that's what Andrew had to have. I mean, this is becoming very lethal very quickly. But I mean, Maxx tapped out. 16's a high life total, but I mean, there's an opening. There's something. Come on. It's not
I mean, he is tapped out. He has no blockers. You have a Drowner. You have a Hirsch you can crew up. I think the actual answer here is removal, right? If you were just able to remove both of the Shredders this turn, or hey, one of them is not going to untap. So even if you can just answer one of them, maybe you got a shot here. Hall of the Storm Giants, unfortunately, not going to do it.
Not on time, but hey, look who decided to show up to the party.
Okay, Kaido can tap down the other one. They're both going to be stunned. Now the Drowner is back in hand, and it can stun again.
No attack there with the Miscreant. Kind of interested to see that. As here comes Kaido. Yeah, we're going to look on the screen. The kind of the crux, I'd say, of Andrew's deck. This powerful Planeswalker that, static ability, ninjutsu, all these loyalty abilities. A lot of text on this card, and all of it is relevant. The 3/4 hexproof on your turn.
Even Miscreant back means you don't die to some random Phoenix plus Eidetic Memory combination.
Right.
So Andrew, even with his back up against the wall here, is doing what he can. He's looking at it. There comes the Treasure Cruise for Maxx.
I believe the last one in the deck, and of course underneath a hearse, hard to do, but Ledger Shredders plus the Artist Talent were able to make it happen.
Well, so we'll see what he can find off of it. There's only so many cards that actually turn sideways and attack, and Andrew can answer a couple of them at the moment.
Yeah, and of course the Drowner's now back in hand, so we have another go at it too. Another tap down, so maybe can start to close the gap as here comes Prismari Command. That destroys an artifact, so we can actually go after Kaido and the hearse.
Can also burn. Can also go face, I believe.
Sure. You could draw to discard 2 to grow the thing.
Like what is the line here for Maxx? You could take out the blocker.
Get a look at Prismari Command, a card of options, to say the least. It's a command, so we can get to pick 2. TL2 damage to any target. Target player draws 2, then discards 2. Create a treasure or destroy target artifact. A lot of appealing options on this one. Maxx doing a little think here.
Yeah, destroying the artifact is certainly enticing. Hitting the Miscreant isn't bad, because then a future like Miscreant or Mockingbird off the top don't draw additional cards for Andrew, because they would obviously wouldn't be a second Miscreant in play. There's also consideration to go face. He's at 7 life only. There's a ton of triggers here. Draw 2, discard 2 is interesting because you have the Eidetic Memory even, right? So a lot of options available to Maxx with the card Prismari Command, and looks like he went for draw discard here. Or maybe
No,
he's
I
just
think these are the
resolving
connives. Yeah, we got connives, we got artist talent. So the order here is you have to pick the targets for Prismari Command, then resolve all your cast triggers, your artist talents, your connives, all those things, and then we can finally start to resolve the Prismari Command. So if you're going to discard a Phoenix and you pick Destroy Target Artifact, you can actually get the Phoenix in the yard the way you want, because you could blow up the artifact as part of the Prismari Command. If the other modes draw 2, discard 2, then you get to get a Phoenix in the yard with that. Without the Hearse having a chance to get it. Now, I don't know if that's what he picked. It looks like
he pitched.
Artifact.
Looks like he pitched one to the connive, maybe, because it did end up getting eaten by the Hearse. Then the Prismari Command goes off, takes down the Hearse, and bunch of draw, happening over here from that.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're at draw 2, discard 2 more. So churning through the deck as artist talent is known to do at this point in time. Ledger Shredder is, of course, part of that mix as well. But I don't necessarily want to question Max's wisdom. He's the Izzet guy after all. Leaving Dimir Ninjas with a Kaido, not something he's going to want to do. So we have more mana. Let's see what we're going to do with the rest of the turn here. We're just going to make a massive Picklock Prankster.
It is massive.
It's not small.
Just having the additional bodies big for Maxx, right? Because if it was just the 2 Ledger Shredders, they can still get answered for a couple turns by Andrew with the cards that he has. Now,
push at the front of the hand. Yeah. I mean, that's big, right? Because you could push the Prankster, lay some beatdowns, get some tapping going. Maybe
wonder what that last mana. Here. There's 1 mana open for Maxx, and what it is might be pretty relevant because he gets to tick up here. This will pump the Kaido. You can use that push to get rid of the Prankster. If that last mana doesn't do something useful for Maxx here, this game's going to be very interesting over the next turn. It is not at all over, and the Prankster goes down.
Oh, I saw a Dispute pulled to the front of Max's hand. That one doesn't go after the push and wouldn't even be good enough anyway. So that's a big deal here. As Kaido going to be laying the beatdowns. This is 4 points of damage, putting Maxx to 9. We still know about a Drowner. Now, the Dispute will line nicely against that one, but there is only one threat coming as we are ninjutsuing another Kaido.
Playing around Dispute?
Yeah. It will allow you to keep the tap going. So we've ninjutsu'd a Kaido for another
Maxx
Kaido.
is like, uh-oh, how does this work?
Okay, so you still take 4 because the emblem is what's doing that. And then we get to lock down the other creature, and back to no creatures are locked.
2 creatures permanently locked down as a result of the Kaido loop in a way that does not use the stack. Mystical Dispute does absolutely nothing against what Andrew has going on right now.
And Spell Pierce doesn't work either. So that mana, I think that he had held up there for either Spirit Pierce. Yeah, there goes the Dispute to the artist talent. That one not having text. Super heads up by Andrew. And, we were sitting here doom saying, he's dead. He's dead. Yeah. He's not dead. Down to 9 goes Maxx. No untapped creatures here. Huge.
Maxx only has so many creatures in his deck.
Yeah, been a big problem. Just can't keep creatures in play. He's been playing the Picklock Pranksters and such, and still can't keep something in play.
Kaido is so strong.
I mean, I thought there was no way out for Andrew, and now, I mean, this is a game. Say what you will about who's likely to win. We have a game on our hands, and that was not the case, in my opinion, 2-3 turns ago. Yeah, we had a nice big raid. All these people are watching a non-game of Magic, and now, I mean, you're getting a sweet game of Magic.
That's right.
Maxx, a lot of mana to work with, a lot of cards to work with. Really seems like he should have all the options. The only question is, can he get a creature? That's a creature.
Gosh, this is what you have to do. Another Free the Fae, probably just to follow up with another Prankster and put some counters on it. He just desperately needs a third body in play.
Yep. And it's funny because he just got rid of the Dispute. If he doesn't have a Dispute for the Drowner, I think both players still know about a Drowner, and this Picklock Prankster doesn't have haste.
Yeah.
We can just get that out of here. No bird in the yard yet. I mean, I'm sure he's digging for the last couple birds, trying to find them, but I mean, because that's the formula, right? Get the bird, get the Prof's memory on it, just end the game. Get the game over with. But the Miscreant's stopping that, so there is problem with that too. Impulse to the yard, not too worried about having enough removal is Maxx. As we're keeping track of the cards drawn, I believe. 4 total. So 2 Ledger Shredders, artist talent card for turn is, I believe, what we're signaling.
Working their way through.
Okay. Yeah.
So Andrew looks pretty interested. He's just watching. He's like, wow, I thought this game was over too.
I mean, his turns taking a tenth of the turns the time the Phoenix takes as well.
Yeah,
Andrew, can only really look on. Not a
yeah.
lot else he can do, but I mean, I'm sure he's glad to still be in this game. As there goes the Fairy Miscreant, which imagine has to have a bird follow up, and yeah, that's it.
Oh, yeah.
Handshake. That's enough. The memory plus the bird. That's Hasty Creature. That means a victory for Maxx Kominowski and a 2-0 victory over Andrew Wolthuis on his version of Demir Ninjas. Is it Phoenix takes it all down? The hands of the Is It Master himself, Maxx
Yeah.
Kominowski.
Great
So,
ending.
at the last possible second, punched his ticket to the 2024 NRG Championship. So, with that, that will conclude our weekend here in Chicagoland. That concludes our double showdown weekend, qualifying 2 players. We saw Grayson Nemitz got to call that. He punched his ticket. Now Maxx Kominowski did so as well, which means the rest of the Energy Championship is going to be set as well. The leaderboards will be updated. Then whoever is left standing will get the remaining invites: the 2 from the seasonal leaderboard, the 3 from the overall, and of course, like I said, Maxx Kominowski did it. Last possible second to do so, did it. And Andrew with his brew made a deep run. Maxx ultimately victorious with his take on Is It, and I believe he's here to speak to us. Maxx Kominowski, the Is It Master. Congratulations!
Congrats.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah, that was it gets really tiring playing Phoenix. There's a lot to keep track of, but the deck is just super busted. So even if you're not playing perfectly, you're gonna get a lot of help from the deck.
Yeah, I mean, the deck just looks so incredible, and you were someone I think that's known for. Is this a natural choice for you? Is there ever any question to play anything else?
No, there isn't. My friends say I can't win without Steam Vents in my deck, so that really limits my deck selection.
Good choices.
I just get lucky sometimes when the Steam Vents decks are really good. I played Phoenix, a very similar list, to qualify for the Pro Tour in Washington D.C., and so it was a pretty obvious choice to run it back this weekend. One of the main changes was I didn't have 4 artist talent, and every time you cast that card, you realize how good it is and how much you want it every single game on turn 2. So pretty clear 4 of, and kind of just has taken the deck to the next level.
It certainly looked that way, right? We also saw Prof's Eidetic Memory look extremely powerful in that last game, and these are cards that are more recent additions, at least to the deck. So, how much of Is It Phoenix do you think is a result of, hey, you're really good at Is It Phoenix, but how much do you think the new cards level up the deck?
Oh, a huge amount. I think that, so speaking to artist talent, it is the best enabler for the deck that has ever been printed. I think that Shredder was previously in the slot.
Yeah.
One of the advantages of playing Phoenix is that removal isn't good against your Arclight Phoenixes. They're recursive, right? But Ledger Shredder just ends up being a lightning rod. So against half of the field, it's inconsistent. It's hard to sometimes time, like, when you are going to be able to discard your Phoenixes, you get stuck with them in hand, and you're seeing way less cards compared to Artist Talent. Like, Artist Talent is every single spell you cast, basically. And so you just get to churn through so much of your deck, find like the key pieces, which that being, Treasure Cruise and Arclight Phoenix are really the 2 core pieces, but sometimes you're looking for counters, sometimes you're looking for removal, and Talent just finds that so efficiently, that it's really strong and really leveled up the deck. To speak to Profs, when you're like facing your opponent game 1, usually the Profs can be nice to have, but not necessary. But once you go to post board, you see Unlicensed Hearse, Leyline of the Void, stuff like High Noon. There's plenty of ways that people are trying to hate this Phoenix deck. And Profs kind of says, well, all of my Picklock Pranksters and, like my Phoenixes can be hard cast as Snare Thopters, and then I can cast a couple cantrips, and all of a sudden it's a 6/5, right? So these the Profs is just a huge way to make your deck more resilient. The downside is like 2 mana draw a card, and it just sits in play. So it's a huge card that really leveled up the deck's resilience to Graveyard Hate, and I think is a step above some of like the previous side steps that you'd play, like Third Path Iconoclast or Crackling Drake, those types of cards, because they can be kind of clunky, and still play into removal a little bit more than the Profs does.
Yeah, we definitely saw that, kind of manifest as one of your jukes. You were able to beat unlicensed hosts and things of that nature, at least fight through them for a long period of time, alongside with that exact combination. Your artist
Yeah.
talent, eventually finding your profs. And I mean, you got it done. You got it done your way. You got to use your Steam vents to be victorious. Talk to me a little bit about this win, making the championship, and kind of that in the context of your year here on the NRG series.
Yeah, I'm really excited to play in Champs again. It's one of the most fun events that I played when I qualified a couple years ago. I have a lot of friends who are playing, so hopefully they'll want to practice with me. And yeah, the NRG series events are always really fun. I just think that it's you see a lot of common faces, and you always have a good time. Even in the top 8, the opponents were super friendly. We were bantering a little bit back and forth, and
Yeah.
that's something that you see a little less of in some of the more like highly competitive Pro Tour qualifier type events. So I'm always happy whenever I can make it out to an NRG event. And anytime they're near Chicago, I'm definitely going to be there.
Well, fortunately for you, we are near Chicago quite often. So thankfully, that'll be close to you. And we'll get to see a lot more of you, not just at championship, but hopefully, in the future as well through our Chicagoland events. Maxx, congratulations again. You did such an awesome job piloting that. Even if you were tired, you still made, you looked like a master out there. Give me any final shout outs, anything you want to say, anything for the camera, what you got?
Shout out to everyone who practices with me. Shout out Tristan W. He originally found the artist talent, and now I'm a huge believer.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, if you have a Pioneer tournament coming up, you should get your artist talents. I personally I own 20 of them, so I guess I have to disclose
20?
that. But it just shows I'm a big believer in the card.
Oh,
and,
yeah. Him and his 4 closest friends are ready to play today.
I was handing out artist talents to all my friends this weekend, trying to anyone who would listen, anyone who would listen. But if they're not gonna play it, then that's also good for me. It means easier opponents. So yeah, I can't recommend it enough, and it's a fun deck to play. I mean, who doesn't like drawing all of the cards? So definitely, yeah.
I'm with you again. Thank you so much. And like I said, it was a real treat watching you take it down. And it's gonna be a real treat seeing you, maybe take a swing at it again there in the championship. If you're that big of a believer, I imagine we'll be seeing you with some Steam Vents in your hand at the championship as well. Thank you so much, Maxx. Congrats.
Absolutely.
Congrats, Maxx.
Thank you, guys.
Well, with that, I believe that is going to conclude, obviously, this tournament, obviously this weekend, but clearly also our entire season, our entire year. So once again, I can't thank all of you watching enough for sticking with us through this. If you're still here, you must really like us. So make sure to follow, subscribe. Thank you again to Ultimate Guard, again, sponsoring the series and everything we do here, making fantastic products, not just for our players, but also making sure that stuff like what we do here in the booth and, obviously the quality of tournaments like that, what Maxx just attested to is able to be possible thanks to Ultimate Guard. So again, they sponsor our series. You should use their products. Their products are awesome. I'm a big believer. I use them myself. So thank you, Ultimate Guard. And one last time, this is the final event of Season 2, which means the next event on our calendar is the NRG Championship for 2024. Get a look at this one. Bam! NRG $35,000, the best of the best of our series, December 14th and 15th. Mark your calendars. Set reminders. You are not going to want to miss this if you're a fan of Paper Magic coverage, or just me and Corbin talking, because I think you're going to get some of that too. So all these faces, Steven Dykman, who got to be the champion and the MVP last year, going to be making an appearance alongside some of the other players you see here. Nikachu, Dominic Harvey, and now Maxx Kominowski and Grayson Nimitz, who punched their ticket this weekend. Last possible second, still good enough. We'll be seeing them on December as well, and hopefully we'll see all of you as well. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you in December. Have a good night.